Hi, good day. Today, we will be discussing about the topic of elements of recycling. We're the group one, and hopefully you will gain knowledge relevant to the topic of recycling. Now, to be specific, let's talk about the objectives of the report. Now, this lesson aims to discuss the elements of recycling with an expectation that the students will be able to, at the end of the lesson, first identify the benefits of recycling. Pangalawa, recognize its significant effect in the community. Pangatlo, determine methods to reduce recycle and reuse items. Pangapat, the last one, establish an understanding of recycling. So these are the objectives that we expect after you listen and watch this recording of the report. Now, so hi, as a continuation of the report about recycling, now let's talk about the steps to recycling materials. So unang-una po dito, we are going rather to talk about the different ways on how we're going to recycle materials. So first and foremost, why do we need to recycle? That's I think the big question that are yet to be addressed in the course of this report. But right now, one of the main reasons on why we recycle, aside from plainly thinking of the welfare of the people and the Mother Earth, it also reduces in the landfills a waste. Una, it reduces the waste that arrives in the landfills. Yan yung mga tambakan ng basura. So yan yung isa sa benefit ng recycling. Pangalawa, it reduces our waste. It reduces the waste of materials. Imbes kasi na bumili tayo ng brand new, for example, paper. So, since bibili tayo ng paper, ibig sabihin, magpuputol na naman ng bagong puno. Unlike sa kung bibili tayo ng recycled papers, walang kailangang puno na putulin. So, parang ganun yung idea. That's why we recycle, to also prevent waste, wasting our resources. Like, for example, cutting trees. So, ganun. That's why we need to recycle. Those are just the basics. But right now, let's talk about the specifics. How are we going to recycle materials? Una, use oils. So, these are very common. We can find this in the household. So, una-una sinabi dito, do not dump your motor oil down the drain. So, huwag po nating itadump or itatapon sa mga kanal or sa ating mga drainage system. Because it can contaminate. Since it contains chemicals. It contaminates water, basically. And also, it contaminates and pollute soil. So, yun po. So, by recycling your used oils, you're not only helping to keep our water supply clean, but also help the community. Kasi nga, um, in many, many civilizations, if you can look back, kung saan ang may tubig, doon ang may tao. Di ba? Nile River. Lahat ng ang civilization ng Egypt is dependent on the Nile River, on water, in other words. That's why water is very important. And that's why for us to enjoy the luxury of having fresh water, then let us not dump oil in our drain and in our canals. All right? Pangalawa, household hazardous waste or HHW. So, leftover household products that contain corrosive toxic. Example po nito ay paint, cleaners, oil, batteries, and pesticide that contain potentially hazardous ingredients. This pollutes the soil, and other than that, it also poses a very dramatic risk to people. Kasi nga, if you dispose these materials, or these chemical substances, it it does not only reaches the landfill, but also meron pa po yan kasing bago ho kasi makuha yan sa inyo, or bago yan matapon, it might reach the children na naglalaro sa labas, and then you just dispose it elsewhere, to where you find a place to dispose. Then irresponsibly, in other words, you're irresponsibly disposing these chemical hazards or chemical household hazardous waste. Maaari it might pose a great threat to the health of the people around you in your community. So, HSW or household hazardous waste may be dangerous to people, or bad for the environment, as what I have said, if poured down the drain or dumped on the ground or thrown out with regular trash. So, when we handle household hazardous waste, it is being handled specially or special ang pag-handle sa kanya because it needs a special way of disposing. Hindi kasi siya pwedeng ihalo sa ating regular trash. Gaya na sabi ko kanina that you dispose this kind of trash responsibly, then it might pose a great danger to people around you or in your community. That's why this HHW or should be disposed in a way that it should be. Paano po ba yun? Paano ba siya madi-dispose? Paano ba i-dispose ang household hazardous waste? So what can you do? Try to reduce your purchase of these products and look for alternative non-hazardous product. So there are non-hazardous product right now in the market. I have looked into it here in the Philippines. It is quite costly, especially to those natural pigments. For example, paint. most of the cheap ones are made from chemicals. And if you buy the natural ones, those who are or those that are made no with natural ingredients are quite expensive. That's why it is really hard also to woo no the consumers to not buy those cheap ones because those are the most accessible ones, especially in a third world country like ours. So mas doon talaga tayo sa mas cheap, and since mas cheap yung mga high in chemicals, doon talaga tayo bumibili ng mga pintura. And you cannot also debunk that because that's true. That's true to most of the people here in the Philippines. So for me, this suggestion might go to most of people or to some of the people, but not to most of the people, especially to a third world country. Mahal po, no, yung mga naturally or mga products that are or that is composed of natural ingredients. It's quite expensive here in the Philippines. So another option, when you do need to dispose of these products, look for special collection. So meron kasing ganyan. In our case, in our clinic, when we dispose hazardous waste, meron talagang kumukuha niyan na taga-health department. Meron talaga na that is assigned to landfills. Merong special way of taking care no, of this hazardous um, waste. No? So iba ang pag-care niya, iba ang pagkuha sa kanila, iba yung pag-dispose sa kanila. No, especially in our case that ang mga dispose namin are chemicals, and also we dispose biohazard, no? Kasi nga mga dugo yun eh. No? Since it's most of the time test kits, no? Mga ganon. And yung mga pag i-dispose na kasi namin ang test kits, nilalagay kasi namin yan sa mga bottles na plastic that are not really soft, yung mga matitigas na plastic, and then we put water to it and a little bit no of Zone Rocks so that hindi umamoy yung mga dugo sa loob. Kasi nga doon namin nilalagay yung mga test kit na mga ginagamit namin in testing HIV. So basically, there is biohazard there and also chemical hazard at rolled into one. So we throw those waste in a way that the ordinance no, of ours of Davao City require us to do. So that's the second one here. No, look for special collection events in your community or permanent collection center. Meron silang talagang nakalaan dyan no, na proseso on how to dispose this kind of waste. Trabaho nila yan. Sometimes businesses that sell these products will also accept them for recycling. So there are instances daw, sabi pa dito, that the product that is hazardous ay pwede mo ding ibigay doon sa mga business owners for recycling. May mga ganon, but I haven't bumped into a company that do that here in the Philippines. I don't know. So maybe there is, but maybe also there is none. Third, if you have to dispose a household hazardous waste, first check with your local waste management agency. So ito yung sabi ko kanina, to see what rules apply in your community. So ano ba yung rules no in disposing such waste? Iba-iba kasi ang waste, di ba? May biohazard, may chemical, may yung mga natural. So iba-iba no ang proseso ng pag dispose sa kanila. No, they are not being disposed all at once. Well, of course, no, in the ideal way, it is not, but I don't know here in the Philippines if they do that. But based in my experience, oo naman, no? Iniiba naman nila yung mga, kagaya sa example ko kanina dito sa Davao, that they handle no these biohazards and chemical hazard differently. Iba ang nagkokolekta. Hindi yung mga trucks na nakikita natin dyan sa daan. The collectors are different. Now let's go on. Tire. So disease-carrying pests such as rodents may live in tire piles. Tire piles can also catch on fire. Most garages are required to accept and recycle your used tires when you have new ones installed. So ito yung mga ligid no in Bisaya, tires. Aside from that, if you left off these tires no sitting around no in your backyard or in your garage, there are tendencies na pamamahayan po ito ng mga insects and rodents. And most of the time, if it is sitting in your backyard for a month or year, tendencies are mosquitoes will live in it. No? Malalagyan ng tubig sa loob, and then pamamahayan ng mosquito and might be a source of dengue. So, di ba? It still poses a great health risk no in a certain community. Ganun lang kaliit ang diferensya. Hinayaan mo lang yung tire mo diyan sa labas. So, it can already damage a community and harm no a lot of people. So that's why sa mga garage, iniiwan kasi yan dyan most of the time. Pero may iba dinadala kasi nga ginagamit nila sa bubong, no, linalagay nila sa bubong para pabigat sa bubong para hindi na pag humangin hindi gumagalaw. Pero may iba din na dinadala sinistore lang talaga nila, no? In my case, sa amin, sa motorcycle namin, I don't know, parang nagpalit na si Papa ng tires, but it was not taken here. It was, I think, being left, no, to the garage, to the repair garage. So, doon na lang yon. Kasi nga, usually butas na yan. Ano pang gagawin mo doon, di ba? So, mas better iwan na lang doon because rin-recycle nila yan doon. Ginagamit nila as pantalpak doon sa mga nipis na ng mga tire ng mga trucks. No? Mga ganun rin-recycle nila. Ginagamit nila para again, di ba, ang purpose natin dyan is para ma-reduce yung ating paggamit ng mga materials and not waste our resources. Kasi nga maliit na lang ang resources natin dito sa mundo. Unfortunately, the trees no, the forests are shrinking, the waters are getting at high level, hindi ba? The glaciers and the icebergs no in the ice and the icy continents are already melting. That's why ang level ng water tumataas na din. The mercury content of the sea is mataas na din. So it's not really safe to say that fish are healthy to eat because the mercury content of the sea is high. So these are because no of the poor waste management no that our world no is currently doing. And unfortunately, the Philippines is not one no of the biggest proliferator of climate change. We are just in fact no not even a fraction or not a fraction uh of the producers no or contributors of the so-called climate change. In fact, these big countries, the highly industrialized countries, are the main proliferators of this so-called climate change. No, but unfortunately, we are paying the price as well ng kanilang ginagawa. That's the sad fact in reality. Going on, manufacturing naman. So today's products are being manufactured with recycled contents most of the time, but not all the time. Kasi nga, even here in the Philippines, konti lang recycled materials na binibenta, di ba? We often see them in not in the malls, in fact. Why? Why do you think so? Because mahirap kasi most of the time itong mga recycling companies, ang kalaban nila is these big companies. For example, paint. Ang daming mga malalaking pangalan sa industry of paint manufacturing, no? And tatapatan sila ng mga recycled na ano. So nahihirapan no yung ating mga companies that are promoting recycled products because maraming kompetensya at marami ding ayaw no na sila ay mag-produce no. Marami silang kalaban in other words. So common household items that contain no recycled materials include the following: newspaper and paper towels. So aluminum, plastics, and glass of drinks containers. So these are the common no items no in our house that are recycled. Steel cans, plastic laundry detergent bottles. So recycled materials are also used in new ways such as recovered glass and asphalt to pave roads or covered plastic carpeting in park benches. So meron ganon. Even sa Itbulaga, they di ba as you can observe yung all for one, one for all nila, Benihan of the people. They have that kind of segment in which sa buong barangay kukuha yan sila ng mga maglaline no yung mga kabarangay lahat ng mga taga-barangay that specific barangay ng mga nakatira, and they will bring no plastic bottles, used bottles, any plastics, and then ibibigay nila doon. And those plastic is made to bend to create or being used no reused to create chairs na to donate to the school. Yun yung ginagawa ng Itbulaga, and that's the best example that I can give no. So itong mga recovered materials ay recycle nila no to create a new one no. So in that way we are not wasting materials no? Except sa imbis na magbili tayo ng mga bagong mga plastics no or mag-manufacture tayo ng mga bagong or raw materials from the raw materials, why not use the recycled ones no, like for example creating new chairs no for the school from recycled ones, just like what Ibulaga is doing. So ganun po. So purchasing new product, third one, purchasing new products made from recycled materials. So I think this is very basic no. Ibig lang sabihin dito, you purchase products that are recycled no? So you help close the recycling loop by using new products made from recycled materials. There are thousands of products that contain recycled contents. When you go shopping, you look for the following. So products can be easily recycled and products that contains recycled content. So pag nag-shopping ka daw, you go to mall, look to this kind of products, no, to the labels of these products. Kung may nakalagay dito na it can be recycled and when it contains recycled materials, then those are the products that are um, suitable no to be purchased no if you want to help no in decreasing the waste no that we are producing in the world. Below are some of the terms used. So recycled content products. So pag may mga ganyan, ibig sabihin the product was manufactured with recycled materials. Very basic, no? So it was collected from a recycling program. In fact, I have saw, but this is from the Western countries and the Western groups that are advocating in recycling. And for me, I think it is just suitable that they do that because they are the one who is the biggest contributors of the pollution that we have in our world. So I think it is just fitting for them to find actions. But I would like no to commend some of them. For example, using uh, the plastics, no? Meron kasing na-invent na bot doon sa West. I forgot the specific name of the bot, but it was invented by a student, and then the the job of the robot, no, as program is to find plastic, small or how big it may be, as long as it is plastic in the ocean, kukunin ng robot yon, kolektahin. And yun yung ginagamit ng mga ng company na ito to create fibers and create loads, create rugs. So yun yung ginagawa nila doon. No, and binebenta nila yon. So, basically, yun contained recycled content products. A product manufactured with recycled materials. So, that's one of the basic example. Post-consumer content, no? Very similar to the recycled content, but the material comes only from recyclable collected from consumers or businesses through a recycling program. So kagaya ng example ko rin kanina. But to this one, it is specific no from a businesses collected from consumer or businesses to a recycling program. Yung akin naman, it is collected by a non-profit organization. Ito sa mga businesses or a recycling program. Recyclable products. So products that can be collected, processed, and manufactured into new products after they have been used. So, pag nakalagay ito sa product na binili nyo na recyclable product, ibig sabihin yung lalagyan ba nun ay um, can be processed after you use it or it after it lands in the landfill. Yung plastic na yun, ibig sabihin ay ma-reuse, ma-recycle. Some of the common products you can find that can be made with recycled content include the following. So aluminum cans, car bumpers, carpeting, cereal boxes, comic books, egg carton, glass containers, laundry detergent bottles, motor oil, nails, newspapers, paper towels, steel products, and trash bags. So these are the common products in which you can find in your household and that are made with recycled content. So I think that's the end of my report. And basically, recycling does not only aim to or does not solely aim to um, uh, just address recycling, but also in the many folds and in the most complex fiber of recycling, it also addresses the pose of danger in climate change. Hindi lang kasi natatapos sa pagre-recycle ang lahat. It starts and ends with how we take care of our waste. Because after all, even if we discuss this thoroughly and even if we repeatedly discuss this inside the classroom, but if we are not finding ways to do it and apply it in a real scenario or in a real life situation, then it's nothing. So ako, one of my best practice right now in which proud ako sa sarili ko doon kasi nga nagagawa ko na talaga siya constantly. When I'm outside, when I have a plastic, for example, I bought a banana Q in the street and then of course babalutin niya sa plastic eh. The plastic that I have used, for example, kakainin ko na siya while I am walking. Yung plastic na yun, hindi ko talaga bibitawan yun until I find a trash bin or a basurahan. Talagang hindi ko bibitawan hanggang sa makakita ako ng basurahan. I'll really find a way na makakita ng basurahan. So just throw it properly. In that way, in that little way, no, aside from the fact that you're being responsible, you're also helping out the community to refrain from danger and to continue harmonious way of living. Kasi nga iniiwasan natin 'di ba na maka-disaster, makabaha, and as we all know, kung matatapon tayo na kung saan-saan, these materials might go to the drainage and then clog the drainage and therefore cause a mag-cause siya ng baha, no? So it's dangerous really. In that little action, you might endanger a lot of lives. So I challenge all of the people who is listening this report that please find a way to also improve your involvement in this fight against pagiging burara and against from being unsanitary, no? Because nobody else will help us out of this. Now, even if the fact that we are not really the biggest contributor of this so-called climate change, but it's the Western world, it's the Western countries. Tayo, hindi man lang tayo naka-fraction dyan. No? Kasi nga, we are not an highly industrialized country. Unlike or compared to other countries such as America, such as China, such as England or United Kingdom. So, we are really far from them in a industrialized basis. Mas marami talaga silang pollution na napoproduce kaysa sa atin. But we bear the consequences right now. And we cannot do anything about it but to act. That's why I challenge you. Act accordingly and help help mother. So I hope you have gained some knowledge and information relevant to the topic of recycling. And if you have questions, queries, you can directly submit your questions in the GC or any other ways that you can contact us, the reporters, so that we can clarify things to you. That's all. Once again, thank you for listening and mabuhay tayong lahat.
Okay, by the way, I am Eliza Mahumot, and as a continuation on Mark's report, so every tons of recycled paper or cardboard can save up to 17 trees. So take note class that the 17 trees saved by recycling 1 ton of paper, maka-absorb siya of total of 250 pounds of carbon dioxide out of the air each year. However, burning the same ton of paper would create 1,500 pounds of carbon dioxide. So if all newspaper were recycled, we could save about 250 million trees each year. Next is the gift wrap and gift bag. So if you use the gift wrap, look to find a type that can be recycled or that is made from the content. Consumer can also reduce waste by using decorative boxes that do not require wrapping and that can be recycled. So the agency encourages consumer to reuse gift bags and tissue paper and not discard them after single use. So meaning to say that recycling of these wrapping papers or gift wrappers is a good option para avoid ang tools of wrapping waste. So mag-end up siya sa landfills. However, it is often hard to recycle wrapping paper owing to the fact that non-recyclable materials added during the manufacture manufacturing stage. So the following are some of the major obstructions that prevent recycling of rubbing papers. So the presence of non-paper additives such as plastics, glitters, silvers, and gold coloring. Next is presence of the tape used in gift wrapping and dyeing or lamination of the gift wrapper. Lastly, thin structure and presence of very less quality fibers. Next is batteries. So one of the most recycled products are lead acid batteries with 2.9 million recycled in 2018, presenting 99% of generation. Recycling rates of other at least 50% of the textiles we throw away are recyclable. So recycling batteries also helps reuse valuable resources as well as recover some non-renewable resources. So there are a lot of materials in batteries that can be recovered and reused. So these materials can be used to make new batteries or other useful items. So next is the dry cell batteries. So it is used in a variety of electronics and include alkaline and zinc 9-volt DC, AA, AAA mercuric oxide, and silver oxide and zinc air. Look for in-store recycling bins or community collection events to dispose of this battery. So ang dry cell battery is a device made of one or more electrochemical cells that converts stored chemical energy to electrical energy. So it contains electrolyte that contains with base or other moist material. So in contrast to wet cell batteries, dry cell batteries do not spin, which makes them ideal for portable equipment. So the main drawback on dry cell is that it cannot be recharged once it loses electrical power, as well as its chemical compounds in dry cell battery poisons the ground and get into water table, making the water dangerous to drink. So next is the lithium ion batteries. So used in many rechargeable products such as electronics, toys, wireless headphones, handheld power tools, small and large appliances, electric vehicles, and electrical energy storage system. So, a lithium ion, rechargeable battery, mag-use of reversible reduction of lithium ions to store energy. So, lithium ions provide their own unique advantages like high energy density, low maintenance, and uh, performance. And next is the lithium metal batteries, similar to lithium ion batteries but are not rechargeable. It is commonly used in products such as camera, watches, remote controls, handheld games, and smoke detectors. So, it has a normal single cell voltage of 3.6 volts, which is fixed by the battery. So there is just one problem regarding to this battery because it has a tendency to have a short circuit. Next is the lead acid battery. Next is the lead acid battery. So it represents the oldest rechargeable and capable of high discharge rate battery. So lead acid batteries can be found in a wide variety of applications, including small scale uh, power and large scale power. So, example, automobiles, boats, snowballs, motorcycles, golf carts, wheelchairs, and other transportation vehicles. Next is other rechargeable batteries. So, include nickel, cadmium, nickel metal hydride, and nickel zinc batteries. So, these batteries can be found in cordless power tools, cordless phones, cell phones, and digital cameras. So, a rechargeable battery is an energy storage device that can be charged again after being discharged by applying DC current to terminals as well as it saves your wallet. So next is plastics. So there are about 50 different groups of plastics with hundreds of different varieties. Most types of plastics are recyclable, and because of this, they need to be recycled to reduce the amount of waste sent to landfill and help prevent the rubbish from ending up in the oceans. Most plastics are non-degradable. They take a long time to break down, possibly up to hundreds of years. So plastic recycling reduces the need to extract new materials from earth as it reuses the stuff that's already processed and protects natural resources. So this can help to reduce emission of heat trapping gases into atmosphere. It also prevents adding more rubbish to landfills as well as to the oceans.
So now let us proceed to answer this question. What do the symbols mean on the bottom of plastic bottles and containers? So as we observe, di ba, if ever mapalita og mga bottled water like Nature Spring or those soft drinks na naka-plastic bottles, di ba, makita na to sa baba na ay mga symbols like pa-arrow siya na pa-triangle. So di ba, sige ra tagpalit without knowing na unsa di ay ginamin ana. So now let us find out unsa day na siya ng mga symbols. So symbols were created by the plastic manufacturers to help people identify the kind of plastic resin used to make the container. So katuday siya ng mga symbols na naa sa plastic bottles na makita nato. Ginabuhat din na siya sa mga manufacturers for us to know unsa dito sila na plastic resin ang gigamit or unsa na plastic resin made those bottles and containers. So this can help to determine if the container can be accepted by your local recycling program. So, since ang kanang mga symbols is naman na siya different meanings or specific meanings pod. So, by that, mahibalaan po na to if kani ba siya na bottles is pwede ba siya ma-recycle or kani ba siya na bottle is kaisa lang siya magamit after mahurot tong imuhang giinom or unsay sulod ato na bottles is pwede na siya malabay, dili na siya ma-recycle. So, from that symbols, dira po na to mahibalaan kung ma-recycle ba siya or dili. So the resin number is contained in a triangle which looks very similar to the recycling symbol, but this does not necessarily mean it can be collected for recycling in your community. So this is one of the reasons why we need to understand or to know the different symbols na nasa plastic or sa nasa plastic bottles, because namangoy uban plastic bottles or plastics na dili siya pwede ma-recycle because naa siya toxic substances na present dito. That's why kailangan jud nato kaayo no na mahibal-an those symbols kay basin mapataka ra tag recycle then naa dito siya yung mga toxic substances dira. So unsa may mahitabo? So maging harmful siya sa ato ang health. Since we're talking about different symbols sa plastic bottles or sa plastic, so here are the 7 plastic resin codes. So we have the resin identifications number, resin identification code option A, and resin identification code option B. For the identification number 1, we have the polyethylene terephthalate. Mo ni siya ang iyahang symbols. Na siya triangle and number 1 sa middle. Second, we have the high density polyethylene. So na siya number 2 sa middle sa triangle. We have number 3, the polyvinyl chloride. So, naapod siya number 3 sa middle. We have number 4, the low density polyethylene. And na siya number 4 sa triangle, sa tunga. Number 5, we have the polypropylene or the PP. Na siya number 5 sa tunga sa triangle. Next, we have the number 6 or the polystyrene or the polystyrene. So, na siya number 6 sa middle and it also known as PS. We have number 7, the last resin codes, or it could be the other resins or the other miscellaneous. So na siya number 7 sa middle. So mo ni siya ang different symbols or different plastic resin codes. The world generates 381 million tons of plastic waste annually, all of which falls into one of these 7 categories. So imagine, ing ana kadaghanon ang plastic waste every year nato ang ginagamit, which means kita pod sige ra tao gamit aning mga plastic. So look more closely to the plastic products. We can notice that the plastic products have a number of them surrounded by arrows. These are known as plastic resin codes. So the recycling codes are used to identify the type of plastic. So if ever mapalit mo og ka ng mga plastic bottles, makita nato sa baba na ay mga kuan nito mga symbols like na ay arrows na naay number sa middle. So kato siya, mo to siya ang ginatawag na plastic resin code. So ang plastic resin codes mao nay mga symbols for us to identify what type of plastic ang atong ginagamit or unsa to ng mga plastic ang naa sa bottles. Plastic that is categorized as 1, 2, and 4 and 5 are considered the safest. However, if it is advisable to avoid plastic categorized under 3, 6, and 7 because they can release toxic products. So as what I have said earlier na there are types of plastic na dili siya ma-recycle because na siya mga toxic products or substances na present sa iyaha. So if we use the 1, 2, and 5 or the polyethylene terephthalate, number 2 the high density polyethylene, and for the low density polyethylene, and the number 5 the polypropylene. So if we use that type of plastic or kato ng mga plastic is na siya yung mga anak na resin codes, which means kato ng mga plastic is safe siya gamiton. If we use 3, 6, and 7 or the polyvinyl chloride or the PVC, the polystyrene or the PS and 7 or the other resins or miscellaneous, kato siya ng mga type of plastic or type of resin is naa siya yung mga toxic products or mga substances na pwede siyang maging harmful sa tong health. So advisable jud sa tua na i-avoid na paggamit aning mga plastic resin or mga plastics na categorized under 3, 6, and 7 because kani sila pwede sila maka-release og toxic products or toxic substances na maging harmful sa tong health. So the more ta nagagamit ani, so the more pud ta na expose sa mga danger. So ing ana pud ka importante for us no na to understand and to know the different codes or different symbols sa plastics para makabaluta unsa tong mga plastic na safe and unsa tong mga plastics na kailangan nato i-avoid. So ing ana jud ka importante na mahibal-an nato ang different codes and different symbols sa plastics. So the first type of resin plastic, we have the PET or the polyethylene terephthalate. So polyethylene terephthalate is the most commonly used thermoplastic polymer throughout the world. So when we say thermoplastic, these are the polymers that can be softened through heating before being processed and then left to cool and harden. So kaning PET or the polyethylene terephthalate is most commonly mao jud ni siya ang ginagamit nato or mao ni siyang type of plastic na ginagamit commonly nato, di ba? And this plastic pod is recyclable because thermoplastic man siya, so pwede ra siya palanayon or through heating malanay siya and then i-cool siya para mahimo na po siyang bago or ma-form na po siya og usab. So it is naturally transparent plastic widely used for soft drinks bottles, fiber for making clothing or the polyester and food and drinks packaging. So kani siya na type of plastic pod is transparent. So, just like sa kanang mga nature spring, kanang mga bottled water, mga bottled drinks, kanang sa plastic, di ba? Kuan siya transparent. So, kana di ay siya na type of plastic is the polyethylene terephthalate. Also, kanang sa ato ang mga sanina, if kanang nagsuot ka og mga polyester made na sanina, so, polyethylene terephthalate po na siya na plastic. Okay, so these are the uses of the polyethylene terephthalate. We have the soft drinks bottles, mouthwash bottles, cooking oil bottles, and clothing. So ako na siya naingon kaganina no na kanang sa soft drinks bottles di ba kuan man jud siya transparent. Also kanang mouthwash bottles kanang sa mga Listerine di ba kuan siya transparent po siya cooking oil bottles and clothing. So mao ni siya ang mga examples or uses of the polyethylene terephthalate. Next is how to recycle. So, unsaon kaya pag-recycle kanina type of plastic? So, polyethylene terephthalate is the most widely recycled and easiest to recycle. So, most plastics in this category can go in your recycling bins at home or work. So, di ba mostly kita if magpalita ng mga bottled water or kanang mga soft drinks na naka-bottle is ginadala na to sa balay di ba ang uban and then ginabutang din na to sa tuang basurahan or ginatipon na to is because kani man gud siya na type of plastic di ba kay ma-recycle siya pwede po na to siya ibaligya sa kanang nagapalit og bote bakal di ba kanang bote bakal plastic kana sila nagapalit na sila ana it's because pwede magun mahalin magun na siya then ma-recycle pod and also kana pod type of plastic is gina-recycle siya para magbuhat ta og something like flowers or kanang mga crafts di ba pwede pod nato siya magamit that's why kani siya na type of plastic is easiest to recycle. Empty and rinse the PET containers and recycle them at home, at work, or on the go. Okay, so i-empty sa nato kuhaan natong mga sulod na pong napabay mga something mga tubig or mga soft drinks pwede na nato na siya kuhaan then atuwa din siyang i-store or taguan nato sa mga sako para makuan pa siya mapuslan pa siya di ba kay pwede man gud na siya mahalin din ibaligya pa pud sa katong mamalit para ma-recycle din mahimo na pud siyang bag-o so ana lang so balik-balik lang ang iyahang kuan process ma-recycle gamito na to tong ibaligya ma-recycle na po balik na po sa to so yung ana lang so there is no need to remove the labels and bottles this is done at the recycling facility by specialized machine so dili na day nato need kanang tanggalan gito mga naka-labels like for example na nakabutang dito nature spring so if mag-recycle ta na kanang pwede na nato siya dili tanggalon if ever ibaligya nato di ba kanang sa mga buti bakal pwede na siya dili tanggalon it's because kay pag abot dito sa kanang something sa facility sa recycling facility nanay kanang specific machine na kana ganing i-separate siya so that's why no need na siya natanggalon nato. So that ends my part. So now I will give the virtual floor to the next reporter. Thank you so much for listening and I hope you have learned something from my discussion. Thank you so much.
Let's move to clothing and textiles. With the rise of fast fashion in recent years, we are buying more clothes than ever, and therefore we have more waste textiles than ever. It is estimated that there are more than 1 million tons of textiles are thrown away every year in the UK. At least 50% of the textiles we throw away are recyclable. It is not just the amount of textiles being used to landfill that is issue but increased use of raw materials used to produce the clothes. At ISM Waste and Recycling, we can recycle all textiles which suitable for reprocessing including redundant fabrics and clothing. So, basically, we can recycle the clothes in any design we want. Remember, during our clothing construction last time, di ba, gipa-innovate ang mom. And in that kind of activity, we are not just innovating but also saving the clothes since, syempre, sayang kaayo ang mga sanina. And ang mga materials na gigamit o ang presyo since gipalit bayan nato, di ba? Then, some of them is gipang tambak or gipang labay na lang siya. So, and I know most of us is na jud tay gipang tambak na mga unused clothes. More on because dili na siya kaigo, then sometimes panghatag na lang pud nato siya. So, through recycling and innovating clothes, we can use it again and of course, dili masayang ang mga salina na natambak or nalabay. Used oil. Never dump your motor oil down the drain. The used oil from one oil change can contaminate 1 million gallons of fresh water. By recycling your used oil, you are not only help keep our water supply clean but also helping to reduce American dependence on foreign oil. So, remember atong balita about sa oil spill that happened sa Oriental Mindoro? So, according sa akong na-search, in which lot of islands or other places is naapektuhan. So, 12 out of 14 municipalities sa Oriental Mindoro ang naapektuhan sa oil spill, which caused daw sa sunken of motor tanker, in which kato na mga places na naapektuhan was declared under a state of calamity. So, nag-response dayon ang mga task force agency o cleanup operations o naghatag po sila mga cash for works programs and donations sa mga local affected by the oil spill, since of course naman sa dagat ilahang source of income, and then tungod sa oil spill is dili sila makapangisda. So also no, it takes 42 gallons of crude oil but only 1 gallon of used oil to produce 2.5 quarts of new motor oil. So many garages and auto supply stores that sell motor oil is nag-accept sila og oil for recycling. So example ani used oil is pwede is re-refined base oil for use as a lubricant, and then hydraulic or transformer oil. So next is we have the household hazardous waste. So leftover household products that contain corrosive, toxic, ignitable, or reactive ingredients are considered to be household hazardous waste or HHW. So products such as paints, cleaners, oils, batteries, and pesticides that contain potentially hazardous ingredients require special care when you dispose of them. The HHW may be dangerous to people or bad for the environment if poured down the drain, dumped on the ground, or thrown out with regular trash. So just like what is stated, this product nga naga-contain og hazardous ingredients is naga-require jud siya proper disposal, since makapollute ni siya sa environment and make a pose threat to human health. And sa next slide is i-discuss nato ang unsay mga buhaton in terms of proper disposal. So now this is what you can do sa household hazardous waste. So first is try to reduce your purchase of these products and look for alternative non-hazardous products. So as much as possible, even though it is impossible, we need to at least try to reduce in purchasing sa mga naay mga hazardous ingredients na mga product. The second is when you need to dispose of these products, look for special collection events in your community or permanent collection center. So sometimes businesses that sell these products will also accept them for recycling. So sabotable naman guro siya no in disposing ani na mga products. Kailangan makig-ayon ka sa inyong community if naga-collect ba silag mga ingana, or ibaligyan lang nimo siya sa mga shops nga naga-recycle og mga hazardous na mga product. The next one is if you have to dispose of HHW, first check with your local waste management agency to see what rules apply in your community. So yes, mangutana ta no what rules apply in our community in terms sa mga basura. Dili kay iipon na nimo dito sa inyong basurahan kay kolekto na lagi unya imong mga basura kay na ay mga gipang dispose na mga hazardous waste, which is wala gi-implement or wala sa rules sa inyong community or barangay. So kabalo na mo sa result, which is maapektuhan ang environment o human health. Next is tire. Disease-carrying pests such as rodents may live in tire piles. Tire flies can also catch on fire. Most garages are required to accept and recycle your used tires when you have new ones installed. So, dili lang mga rodents and other pests, no, but also ang pinaka-common na nagaano sa mga tires is lamok, in which nagakause siya dengue sa mga tao. Then, as what stated, the tire can easily catch on fire because of course, tire is gawa sa goma or rubber. And basically, pwede nimo i-return ang mga used tires to either tire retailer or local recycling facility nga nagadawat og mga tires. So, the second step in recycling materials is manufacturing. So, today's products are being manufactured with recycled content. Common household items that contain recycled materials include the following: newspapers and paper towels, aluminum, plastic, and glass soft drinks containers, steel cans, and plastic laundry detergent and bottles. So at what it said, common na siya ng mga household items na ginagamit in recycling. So, in which, I know most of these items is nagamit na nato sa pag-recycle, like newspaper na pwede himuon o paper basket, paper mache o uban pa din. Ang kining plastic containers na pwede siya himuon og vase, lantern, and other recycled materials. So, recycled materials are also used in many ways, such as recovered glass in asphalt to pave roads or recovered plastic in carpeting and park benches. The third step in recycling materials is the purchasing new products made from recycled materials. You help close the recycling loop by using new products made from recycled materials. There are thousands of products that contain recycled content. When you go shopping, look for the following. First is products that can be easily recycled. Second, products that contain recycled content. So, in which, kabalo naman guro mo sa mga symbols since na-discuss naman to sa kong co-reporter, in which atong mga symbol is dito ma-determine if that certain products na imong gi-purchase is madawat ba sa local recycling program. So, if mamalita, i-consider nato ning duha, which is the products that can be easily recycled or products that contain recycled content. So, we have here some of the terms used. First is the recycled content product. So the product was manufactured with recycled materials, is either collected from a recycling program or from waste recovered during the normal manufacturing process. The label will sometimes include how much of the content was from recycled materials. So basically, recycled content products is mga items produces recovered materials. And sa ganun sa mga example anis like mga construction products, paper and paper products, landscaping products, o daghan pa siya. Next is post-consumer content, which is very similar to recycled content, but the material come only from recyclables collected from consumers or businesses through a recycling program. So basically, si post-consumer content is leftover materials nga gikan sa mga consumers or business. Then, kini na mga materials is taken from landfills at pwede ni siya magamit in the production of other packaging. So, paper, aluminum cans, and glass is some of the common reused packaging materials. And the last one is recyclable product. So, it is the products that can be collected, processed, and manufactured into new products after they have been used. So, these products do not necessarily contain recycled materials. So, from the name itself, recyclable products, which is mga product na ma-reuse. So, it is not just na ma-reuse, but it can also be reconditioned for use, recycled through existing recycling through existing recycling collection programs. So we have here some common products you can find that can be made with recycled content, which include the following. First is the aluminum cans, car bumpers, carpeting, cereal boxes, comic books, egg cartons, glass containers, laundry detergent bottles, motor oil, nails, newspaper, paper towels, steel products, and trash bags. So, this is the topic of elements of recycling about. So, that's all. Thank you.
So good day class. So I am Oclarit and I am the next reporter of our group. So now let's proceed to the next topic. So how to recycle. So polystyrene is a type of plastic that is not commonly recycled. So it means that ang polystyrene is dili kayo kadalasan na gina-recycle. Maybe because na ay materials or chemicals na nasagol sa polystyrene na dili pwede i-reuse. So number 7 is other and miscellaneous. So there is no long fancy name or technical term for plastic because plastic with the new 7 resin code is more of miscellaneous category. Items in this category are all other products that do not fit into the main 6 types. So ang other and miscellaneous is dili siya belong sa first 6 plastic resin code. Maybe because ang kani siya na uh, types of plastics is a combination of other plastic resin code. So, for example, plastic in this category can be made up of any combination of 1 to 6 or another less commonly used plastic. So, naka-indicate diri na ang kanisya na plastic is dili pwede tawagon og first 6 plastic resin code. Kay combination man siya sa first 6 plastic resin code. So, for example, ang code 1, 2, or 3 is gi-combine para makabuo og kanisya na plastic. Muna siyang gitawag og other and miscellaneous. So, muna siya ang example sa other and miscellaneous. So, we have a polycarbonate, polylactate, acrylic, acrylonitrile butadiene, styrene, fiberglass, and nylon. So, muna siya ang mga example sa other and miscellaneous. So next is the glass. So glass can take around 1 million years to fully decompose. So ang glass class is moagi pa siya og 1 million years bago siya ma-decompose or kanang di na siya pwede ma-reuse. So which is a big issue of landfill sites getting to full. So glass is 100% recyclable and never loses any purity or quality when it's recycled. So ang glass class is 100% yun siya na ma-recycle. And dili siya mawalan og quality or purity. Kaya ang glass manggod once na ma-recycle mo siya is dili siya mamaot or kanang mulahi iyahang quality sa product. So it is a crucial to ensure we recycle as much glass as possible. So glass can be reused over and over again. So ang glass is pwede nimo siya i-reuse over and over again. So like for example, nang ma-reuse na nimo siya. So pag magamit na niya ang kanang glass is pwede na pud siya ma-reuse. Like walay kahuman ng reuse ba. So in the quality of the material is a good as if it was made new from raw materials. So once na mag-reuse ka og glass is good as new gihapon siya dili ingon na mamaot na iyang quality. So muna to siya ganina. So ISM can recycle various types of glass which must be suitable for reprocessing. So glass should be as clean and contaminant free as possible for recycling. Grades include such item as bottles. So mani siya ang katong glass na pwede nimo i-reuse. So bottles, jars, windows, drinking glass, computer, screen, etc. And similar to other recycled materials, recycling glass also save significant amount of energy. And kabantay mo class na ang glass is like kung manong gamit is ginabaligya nila sa butibakal kay ang glass manggod is isa na siya sa ma-recycle jud or kanang 100% jud siya na recycle ba. Munang ginapalit siya sa mga junk shop kay pwede man nila ibaligya dito sa ga recycle o glass. So thank you and God bless.
Okay, so hello everyone. By the way, my name is Andre Niones. So I'll be discussing to you the metal recycling. So what is metal recycling? So all grades of non-ferrous and ferrous metal are recyclable for future use. Okay, so to get an idea of how much energy recycling can conserve is recycling one aluminum drinks, especially can alone, can save enough energy to power a television for around 3 hours. Okay, so imagine that a one can alone can save up an energy and can power a television. So almost 3 hours di mo siya magamit 'no, ang, isa lang ka can na atong recycle, 'di ba? So to make also an energy. Okay, so before the metals are recycled, metals get sorted in our materials recycling facility or the MRF. Okay, so where they are separated into ferrous and non-ferrous types. So unsa man ang mga ferrous metal? So the ferrous metal includes iron and steel. So what is the non-ferrous? Okay, what are the non-ferrous materials or metals? It includes aluminum, copper, stainless steel, brass, and lead, to name but a few. So daghan pa kayo siya non-ferrous metals 'no, but di ato siya isa-isahon tungod kay mao na siya ang mga pinaka-basic nga examples sa non-ferrous materials. Okay, so next, we have here the we recycling. So unsa man we recycling? So it is more on recycling some electronic devices. Okay, so we recycling is for the waste of electrical and electronic equipment recycling, which is nearly everything that is powered by a battery. So, kasagaran maggamit og mga powered by a battery, no? Or plug, such as, unsa man, computers, atong mga mobile phones, TVs na to, mo na siya example sa electronic devices. Okay? Electronic devices na pwede siya himuo, which is under sa we recycling. So, recycling of electronic goods is especially part of the waste and recycling industry, aiming to prevent electrical items sent to landfill. Okay, so before ang we recycling ginabuhat ni siya sa ug maay kanang sa mga specialist part ba. Like for example, inagdala na sa kanang kuan, inagdala na sa mga for example, sorting facilities bitaw. So gina-prevent na siya nga madala dito sa kanang mismong landfill. So if naa sila makita sa kanang sa ilahang waste nga na mga electronic devices di na siya pwede dalon dito kay makadaot mo guna siya, di ba? So the Waste Electrical and Electronic Equipment or the WEEE Regulations 2013 became law in the UK. So on January 1st, 2014 at ISM Waste and Recycling. So we accept and recycle the majority of WEEE waste including computers, monitors, TVs, radios, mobile phones, and other electrical tools. Okay? So mauna siya ang WEEE recycling or the electronic devices recycling. Next, wood recycling. So, of course, pinaka-basic ang wood recycling, di ba? So, wood is the ultimate renewable material because of its number of different uses. So, daghan kitag mabuhat sa wood, di ba? So, if di na po natin magamit ang wood, daghan po kita pwede gamitan ano niya. Like, di na siya pwede pambalay, pero daghan tag alternative na pwede gamiton sa wood. So, wood can be reused as a building material. Recycled into much for landscaping and even low-grade wood is useful because it can be used for fuel to generate environmental friendly energy. Of course, pwede na siya gamiton. For example, di na siya magamit sa kanang pagtukod og balay. So pwede nito siya kwaon gamiton as mag-create og fire to para magluto ingana unsa ba magdaog ba ka dira or basta anything nga pwede nato gamiton. Pwede siya recycled, pwede siya imong design bitaw, ingana siya. So according to the Wood Recyclers Association, around 5 million tons of waste wood is created in the UK every year. So imagine that, the 5 million tons of waste wood ang ma-create sa UK no every year. So ingana siya kadaghan ng waste sa wood waste, di ba? So yet considerably less than a half of it is recycled. So of course, di mo kita tanan, so less than a half daw siguro ang pwede recycled. So ISM waste and recycling can recover all types of uncontaminated timber. Such wood grades include such as items as timber pallets, timber boxes, floorboards, chipboard, fencing, plywood, furniture, and etc. So daghan pa kaayo. And I think that's the end of my report. So the next reporter, which is Miss Pontillas, will continue our discussion. So see you again later.
High density polyethylene or the HDPE. HDPE is a thermoplastic made using petroleum. HDPE is a versatile plastic with a wide range of uses. In a lot of cases, it is a very cost-effective option for replacing metal or glass. HDPE also used in a wide variety of applications as plastic, bottles, milk, jugs, butter tubs, bleach bottle, bottle caps, and piping. It is also highly resistant to impact chemicals and UV radiation, making it a popular choice for outdoor application. Also, HDPE is considered as the relatively safe for the environment because it is non-toxic chemical when it is recycled or incinerated. So the uses of HDPE, milk jugs, plastic bags, butter tubs, ice cream tub, shampoo soap bottles, plastic bottle caps, utility pipes, and pans. So how to recycle HDPE? HDPE products can be recycled. You can recycle most of them at home or work on the go. However, not all the types of HDPE products can be recycled at home. However, like all plastics, HDPE can have a negative environmental impacts if it is not properly disposed of. When HDPE products end up in landfills, they can take hundreds of years to decompose and can release harmful chemicals into the soil and groundwater. In addition, when HDPE is not properly recycled, it can contribute to the global plastic pollution problem. To minimize the negative environmental impact of HDPE, it is important to recycle it properly and to reduce overall plastic consumption. Okay. Next is a polyvinyl chloride or the PVC, the third most widely produced synthetic plastic polymer due to its wide range of application. It is a cost-effective and versatile thermoplastic most commonly known to be used in the building and construction industry to make door and window frames. PVC is also found in a wide range of industrial and everyday application, including buildings, transport, packaging, electrical, and healthcare applications. So, PVC uses doors and window frames, plastic pipes, plastic wire, surrounds, cling film, plastic outdoor furniture. How to recycle PVC? PVC products are in the most cases are non-recyclable. PVC has been the subject to controversy due to the potential health and environmental risks associated with its production, use, and disposal. So, during the production of the PVC, toxic chemicals like dioxin and phthalates can be released into the environment, posing a risk to human health in the environment. PVC products can also release toxic chemicals during their use and disposal, particularly when they are burned or incinerated. PVC can be recycled, but the recycling process can be difficult and energy intensive. As a result, PVC recycling rates are generally lower than those of other plastics. To reduce the negative environmental impact of PVC, it is important to minimize also its uses, recycle it properly, and dispose of it safely. Alternatives to PVC such as bioplastic and natural materials like wood are also being developed and used to replace PVC in some applications. Next is the low density polyethylene or the LDPE. LDPE is a thermoplastic made from ethylene. However, LDPE has significantly different properties when compared to the high-density polyethylene. Low-density polyethylene key characteristics are: first is the durability and flexibility. Number two, does not release harmful chemicals. Number three, doesn't break easily and resistant to acids, bases, and oils. Also, LDPE is often used in a wide range of different types of packaging and contains. It is also a flexible and lightweight material that is resistant to moisture and chemicals. Has a lower density than other types of polyethylene, which gives it a unique properties such as flexibility and toughness. The uses of LDPE is sauce and condiments bottles, plastic films, plastic bags, bubble wrap, plastic tubing. How to recycle LDPE? It is recyclable plastics. The more flexible LDPE products such as films and wraps can be more challenging to recycle. LDPE is commonly recycled, but the process can be more difficult than with other plastic because it has a lower melting point and is more prone to contamination. LDPE can have a negative environmental impact if it is not properly disposed of. So all of the plastic has the negative impacts when it is not properly disposed. When LDPE products end up in landfills, they can take hundreds of years to decompose and can release harmful chemicals into the soil and in the groundwater. LDPE is often considered to be a more environmentally friendly alternative to other plastic because it requires less energy to produce and generate less waste during production. However, like all plastics, LDPE can have a negative environmental impacts if it is not recycled or disposed properly. To minimize of its negative environmental impact of LDPE, it is important to recycle it properly and reduce overall plastic consumption.
Let's move to clothing and textiles. With the rise of fast fashion in recent years, we are buying more clothes than ever, and therefore we have more waste textiles than ever. It is estimated that there are more than 1 million tons of textiles are thrown away every year in the UK. At least 50% of the textiles we throw away are recyclable. It is not just the amount of textiles being used to landfill that is issue, but increased use of raw materials used to produce the clothes. At ISM Waste and Recycling, we can recycle all textiles which suitable for reprocessing, including redundant fabrics and clothing. So, basically, we can recycle the clothes in any design we want. Remember, during our clothing construction last time, di ba, innovate ang mom. And in that kind of activity, we are not just innovating, but also saving the clothes since, syempre, sayang kaayo ang mga sanina. And ang mga materials na gigamit og ang precious since, gipalit ba yan nato, di ba? Then, some of them is gipang tambak or gipang labay na lang siya. So, and I know most of us is na jud tay gipang tambak na mga unused clothes, more on because dili na siya kaigo, then sometimes panghatag na lang pud nato siya. So, through recycling and innovating clothes, we can use it again, and of course, dili masayang ang mga salina na natambak or nalabay. Used oil. Never dump your motor oil down the drain. The used oil from one oil change can contaminate 1 million gallons of fresh water. By recycling your used oil, you are not only help keep our water supply clean, but also helping to reduce American dependence on foreign oil. So, remember atong balita about sa oil spill that happened sa Oriental Mindoro. So, according sa akong na-search, in which lot of islands or other places is naapektuhan. So, 12 out of 14 municipalities sa Oriental Mindoro ang naapektuhan sa oil spill, which caused daw sa sunken of motor tanker, in which kato na mga places na naapektuhan was declared under a state of calamity. So, nag-response dayon ang mga task force agency o cleanup operations o naghatag po sila mga cash for works programs and donations sa mga local affected by the oil spill since, of course, naman sa dagat ilahang source of income. And then, tungod sa oil spill is dili sila makapangisda. So also now, it takes 42 gallons of crude oil but only 1 gallon of used oil to produce 2.5 quarts of new motor oil. So many garages and auto supply stores that sell motor oil is nag-accept sila og oil for recycling. So example ani used oil is pwede is re-refined base oil for use as a lubricant, and then hydraulic or transformer oil. So next is we have the household hazardous waste. So leftover household products that contain corrosive, toxic, ignitable, or reactive ingredients are considered to be household hazardous waste or HHW. So products such as paints, cleaners, oils, batteries, and pesticides that contain potentially hazardous ingredients require special care when you dispose of them. The HHW may be dangerous to people or bad for the environment if poured down the drain, dumped on the ground, or thrown out with regular trash. So just like what is stated, this product nga naga-contain og hazardous ingredients is naga-require jud siya proper disposal since makapollute ni siya sa environment and make a pose threat to human health. And sa next slide is i-discuss nato ang unsay mga buhaton in terms of proper disposal. So now this is what you can do sa household hazardous waste. So first is try to reduce your purchase of these products and look for alternative non-hazardous products. So as much as possible, even though it is impossible, we need to at least try to reduce in purchasing sa mga naay mga hazardous ingredients na mga product. The second is when you need to dispose of these products, look for special collection events in your community or permanent collection center. So sometimes businesses that sell these products will also accept them for recycling. So sabotable naman guro siya no in disposing ani ng mga products, kailangan makig-ayon ka sa inyong community if naga-collect ba silang mga ingana or ibaligyan lang nimo siya sa mga shops nga naga-recycle og mga hazardous na mga product. The next one is if you have to dispose of HHW, first check with your local waste management agency to see what rules apply in your community. So yes, mangutana ta know what rules apply in our community in terms sa mga basura dili kay iipon na nimo dito sa inyong basurahan kay kolekto na lagi unya imong mga basura kay na ay mga ipang dispose na mga hazardous waste which is wala gi-implement or wala sa rules sa inyong community or barangay, so kabalo na mo sa result which is maapektuhan ang environment o human health. Next is tire. Disease-carrying pests such as rodents may live in tire piles. Tire piles can also catch on fire. Most garages are required to accept and recycle your used tires when you have new ones installed. So, dili lang mga rodents and other pests, no, but also ang pinaka-common na nagaano sa mga tires is lamok in which nagakause dengue sa mga tao. Then, as what stated, the tire can easily catch on fire because of course, tire is gawa sa goma or rubber. And basically, pwede nimo i-return ang mga used tires to either tire retailer or local recycling facility nga nagadawat og mga tires. So the second step in recycling materials is manufacturing. So today's products are being manufactured with recycled content. Common household items that contain recycled materials include the following: newspapers and paper towels, aluminum, plastic and glass soft drinks containers, steel cans, and plastic laundry detergent and bottles. So at what it said, common na siya ng mga household items na ginagamit in recycling. So, in which, I know most of these items is nagamit na nato sa pag-recycle like newspaper na pwede himuon og paper basket, paper mache o uban pa din. Ang kining plastic containers na pwede siya himuon og vase, lantern, and other recycled materials. So, recycled materials are also used in many ways such as recovered glass in asphalt to pave roads or recovered plastic in carpeting and park benches. The third step in recycling materials is the purchasing new products made from recycled materials. You help close the recycling loop by using new products made from recycled materials. There are thousands of products that contain recycled content. When you go shopping, look for the following. First is products that can be easily recycled. Second, products that contain recycled content. So, in which, kabalo naman guro mo sa mga symbols since na-discuss naman to sa akong co-reporter in which atong mga symbol is dito ma-determine if that certain products na imong gi-purchase is madawat ba sa local recycling program. So, if mamalita, i-consider nato ning duha which is the products that can be easily recycled or products that contain recycled content. So, we have here some of the terms used. First is the recycled content product. So the product was manufactured with recycled materials is either collected from a recycling program or from waste recovered during the normal manufacturing process. The label will sometimes include how much of the content was from recycled materials. So basically, recycled content products is mga items produces recovered materials. And sa ganun sa mga example anis like mga construction products, paper and paper products, landscaping products, o daghan pa siya. Next is post-consumer content, which is very similar to recycled content, but the material come only from recyclables collected from consumers or businesses through a recycling program. So basically, si post-consumer content is leftover materials nga gikan sa mga consumers or business. Then, kini na mga materials is taken from landfills at pwede ni siya magamit in the production of other packaging. So paper, aluminum cans, and glass is some of the common reused packaging materials. And the last one is recyclable product. So it is the products that can be collected, processed, and manufactured into new products after they have been used. So these products do not necessarily contain recycled materials. So from the name itself, recyclable products, which is mga product na ma-reuse. So it is not just na ma-reuse, but it can also be reconditioned for use, recycled through existing recycling collection programs. So we have here some common products you can find that can be made with recycled content, which include the following. First is the aluminum cans, car bumpers, carpeting, cereal boxes, comic books, egg cartons, glass containers, laundry detergent bottles, motor oil, nails, newspaper, paper towels, steel products, and trash bags. So this is the topic of elements of recycling about. So that's all. Thank you.